Let's go over a case study today of someone's whole story here at the Kahm Clinic. So we're really going to talk about everything that happened this whole time while working with someone. Now, this whole time was 2 years. I know we've talked lots of times about how, it can take a long time to make these changes, and 2 years is a long time. So this individual's story is that before she came in to see us, she was actually on this pattern of doing lots of different fad diets. So she was fad dieting, she was finding that she would do a fad diet and then she'd quit, and then she was still a little bit restrictive with her intake, kind of because of stuff that she learned on that fad diet. And then actually closer to coming in to see us, she got on this pattern of binging and restricting. So she was binging in the evenings because she was restricting during the day. She was trying to keep her calories to about 1,100 to 1,400, and then she would find herself binging at night. So let's take a look at her metabolic profile. So this is when she first came in, of course. Now you see that her metabolic rate was just slightly low. It was at 1,400, just right below where we predict it to be. But the big thing is that her protein substrate was a little bit too high. So the body was breaking down a little bit too much of her lean mass. Now, one thing I want to point out is you may be wondering, why was her metabolism okay even though she was restricting? And that's actually because of the binging. Now, I'm not saying that you should binge. I'm not condoning that. I'm not saying that that's a good behavior, but it was a lot of calories. And so because she was taking in that many calories, it was actually keeping her metabolism a little bit higher. So again, protein substrate was too high, and then her carb and fat utilization, so her body was burning fat efficiently at a fasted state, but her carb substrate, if you remember, that's the breakdown of food, her carb substrate was a little bit too high, and that's actually because she had binged before coming in to see us. And so remember, that means the body was still spending time breaking down the food that she had eaten the night before. So what I want to show you next actually is the whole picture of her body composition. And so this is over the 2-year time period, and I'll touch on everything, but I want to show you this first before we do the next metabolic test to help explain some things. So what you'll see here is a sampling of everything that we did from beginning to end, starting in September of 2018 to October of 2020. So based on her metabolic profile, with metabolic rate being roughly about 1,400, but with some things we needed to improve, we actually pulled up her calories. So in the very beginning, we had her first eating 18 to 2,000 calories, and then we pulled it up again to 2,300. And the reason we did that second increase of 2,300 is because at 18 to 2,000, she was still feeling like she wasn't fully satisfied and her energy still wasn't great. So we pulled it up to 2,300, and after maintaining 2,300 for just a month or two, she noticed that she was binging much less frequently. She had much better energy, and she wasn't noticing these strong cravings for carbs and sweets. And during exercise, she was able to perform how she wanted to during her workout. So we actually kept her on this 2,300 because of those things, and she ended up not binging again. So it's kind of slowly decreased and spaced out, and then it got to the point where it had been a couple months and she couldn't remember the last time she binged, and then even after that, she wasn't binging at all. So that was excellent. So we kept her calories at 2,300. So what you'll see, of course, is in the beginning, yeah, she gained weight, and then she maintained that higher weight for a while, and that's okay. And the reason that's okay is because of all of those other things that I just noted: the better hunger, noticing better hunger and fullness, the decrease in cravings, the no binging, which is huge, and being able to perform better during workouts. So that's why that's okay, and that tells me that that's what the body needs. Now, to solidify that even more, in November of 2019, I'll flip over to her metabolic test results. We see that her metabolism is much better. It came all the way up to 1,790, which is great. And the body's no longer breaking down too much of her lean mass. That protein substrate is normal. And then carb and fat utilization is normal as well, which is awesome, right? So in November, we basically had a perfect metabolic profile for her. So we spent all of that time, September of 2018 to November of 2019, working on correcting her behaviors, getting her to fuel her body well, and then actually get it to the point where she was eating enough, having no cravings, good energy during workouts, and so many things that we consider non-scale victories that are things that were so much more important during that time period. Now, this was all while eating roughly 2,300 calories, give or take, probably even a little bit more than that. And then after we did this metabolic profile in November of 2019, we did start to tweak things a little bit. And this was after we really figured out that she wasn't having any binge behavior or any disordered behaviors at all. We did tweak one small thing. The small thing was all we did was cut out one snack, and that snack was about 200 calories. So we cut out one snack. And then look at her numbers now. We're back to the body composition now. But look at her numbers now, right? So this again was over a year that it took this to happen of just that small tweak. So yes, our recommendation was roughly 2,100 calories, but really there was some days she was still eating 2,300. It was give or take, right? Because we don't want you counting and logging and obsessing over that. But her body composition did start to change over this kind of second year of working together. And so now she's at a place where she's feeling great. She eats when she's hungry and stops when she's full. She doesn't have cravings. She's not binging. She hasn't binged in probably a year and a half at this point, which is amazing. And it's gotten to the point where we check in maybe once every couple months just to see, but she feels great. She's doing wonderful. Her body composition looks good. And we healed her internally and focused on those non-scale victories first, which is so important to give you a healthy, long-lasting relationship with food.